Martio here. Welcome to yet another busy day on the channel. Two of the regular Tuesday spots plus a birthday. It's all go at the moment, so we'll get cracking today. So we're going to start off with a viewer's request album ranking, and this was for Buffalo Springfield, a rock band formed in Los Angeles by Canadian musicians Neil Young, Bruce Palmer, Dewey Martin, and American musician Stephen Stills and Richie Furay. They had a real big hit, of course. We'll talk about that later. And 3 albums that they recorded between 1966 and 1968. And they've said it sort of influences folk music, country music, with influences from the British invasion and psychedelic rock. Now, all 3 albums are pretty decent. Once again, it was a tough one because there's some great songs on all the albums. So we'll have a crack. So coming in at number 3, we have the third and final album, and it was released in July of 1968, and it's called Last Time Around. And it also features Jim Messina. So the band, of course, it's Richie Furay was on guitars, Dewey Martin played the drums, we had Jim Messina on bass, Stephen Stills on guitars, and everything else in vocals, etc. Neil Young on guitars. Now these are this album was recorded at different sessions. So track 1, On the Way Home, was recorded in November of 1967, and it's Richie on the lead, vocals Bruce Palmer on the bass, piano Neil Young. Very mellowed track. Considering this was recorded a year later, it really is one of the most mellowest tracks this band ever done, and I do like it. It's so hard to wake. This was recorded in March of '68, and the lead vocals again done by Richie. I love the trumpets in this, very jazzy, pretty good track. Great little bass line this is as well. I think it's Bruce Palmer, very good track. Pretty Girl Why, recorded in 1967. We've got Stephen Stills doing the vocals on this, and Jim Fielder is the bass player. Really good track. I think they didn't know what they were quite doing, because this sound was not on their debut album, and it's a really good. It's not one of my favourite tracks on the album, mind you, but it's a little bit different. Full Days Gone, recorded in early of '67. Lead vocals and piano by Mr. Stephen Stills. My favourite track on here, I think it's this lovely piano playing and vocal from Stephen. I like this. It's a pretty solid track. Carefree Country Day comes next. Now this was either recorded late '67 or early '68, and we've got Jim Messina on vocals on there. I do like the bass line as well. It's got a country blues feel to it, and it's a great vocal from Jim. Special Care. Now this is recorded in '68. Stephen Stills is on the vocals, and Buddy Miles plays drums on this. It's a really good little rock track, some great keyboard work on here, solid track, one of the best on the album. Then we have The Hour of Not Quite Rain, recorded in '68. Richie's on vocals now. It's an interesting start, but the violin on this really adds to it. It's a great vocal from Richie. Questions is next, recorded in 1968. We've got Stephen Stills on vocals and drums. Now is Jimmy Carstein. Great track of the late 60s. Lovely vocal from Stephen. The rest of the band are in harmony as well, that are singing. It's a pretty strong track. Then we have I Am a Child, recorded in 1968. Lead vocals this time by Neil Young, and the bass player is Gary Marker. A typical Neil Young track, he wrote it as well. It's got everything that you expect of Neil Young on this. It's a pretty decent track. Merry Go Round is next. This is recorded in 68. It's Richie doing the vocals. Jimmy Carstein's on here as well, and Jeremy Stewart does some bells. Love the keyboards in it. Pretty solid track again. Then we have Uno Mundo. This is recorded in 68. It's Stephen Stills on the vocals. Nice guitar solo in this as well. It's groovy, it's got trumpets. Then we have Kind Woman, recorded in 68. We've got Rusty Young on bass and Richard Davis. No, pedal steel guitar is Rusty Young and bass is Richard Davis. Not Dickie Davis, as it said in the notes. Dickie Davis used to do World of Sport, of course. Great track, some nice. I love the pedal steel guitar on this from Rusty Young. Absolutely brilliant. Some nice piano work, no doubt, from Mr. Stills. Good track to end the album. It's a pretty good album. The songs are great on here, especially the ones from Stephen and Neil. I think, you know, lots of people on this, but it's just a very good album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, coming in number 2. Second album recorded in 1967 and released in 67, and it's Buffalo Springfield again. The band are Stephen Stills on vocals, guitars and keyboards, Neil Young vocals and guitars, Richie Foray on vocals and rhythm, Bruce Palmer on the bass, and Dewey Martin on the drums and vocals. First track on this one is called Mr. Soul. Classic Buffalo Springfield track, isn't it? Great vocal from Neil. It's just one of the best tracks they ever did in my books. A Child's Claim to Fame. Very country, some lovely harmonies on this. This is what happens again when you get a band that can sing. Everyone contributes to vocals on here, except Bruce. It's really nice harmonies, you know, and it's that sort of sound we got used to with Crosby, Stills and Nash. And then when Neil Young came along, it's just great. Every Day's great Stephen Stills song. You think it's going to be a rocker, but it comes out in a more gentle. It's a really good track. Some great drumming from Dewey on this. Pretty good track. Expecting to Fly. Love this track. It's the harmonies again. Is that what makes it so good? The harmonies. Bluebird, another great song from Stephen Stills, and you got a duo between Richie and Stephen. Excellent track. Then we get my favourite track, and again, one of my favourite tracks by this band, and it's called Hung Upside Down. The solo from Stephen is absolutely brilliant, and some great keyboard work in this one as well. Sad Memory. It's a very acoustic number with Richie singing and playing his guitar. Wonderful little track. Then we have Good Time Boy. Some horns in this. Another another Richie vocal. Pretty good. Rock and Roll Women. The harmony singing's there, and Stephen takes the lead. A great song. Love that one. Broken Arrow. The last track on the album. Some lovely piano work and strings. Nice vocals. And a little bit of clarinet thrown in there. Yeah, it's the difficult second album to follow up the debut, but they nailed it. It's a real strong album. It's got some of my favourite Buffalo Springfield tracks on this. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. But the number one album for me is always going to be the debut album, Buffalo Springfield, released in 66. And playing on here is Stephen, Neil, Richie, Bruce and Dewey. And the first track on here is that great catchy tune called Go and Say Goodbye. Great vocal from Stephen and Neil, they sort of, and great playing the thing, great little rocker. Then we have Sit Down, I Think I Love You, which is a great little pop song. Some nice guitar work on this. Love the distorted guitar on this one. Leave, probably my least favourite track on this album. It's Stephen Ritchie, but it's a little bit flat. But you can't like every track, can you? Nowadays, Clancy Can't Even Sing. You got everyone has a bit of a sing on this one. Really good. 3 good singers. Why not? Excellent track. Hot Dusty Roads. Love this. It's Bruce's bass line that really gels this one. It's a very solid track with some good guitar work all round on that one. Everybody Wrong, one of my favourite tracks by the band again. It's definitely in the top 10. Love the guitar work on this. It's just brilliant. Flying on the Ground is Wrong. What a title. Yes, it is Flying. Really good song. Written by Neil Young. It's just a great song. Burned, another Neil Young pen song. Love the guitar solo on this, and it's got some lovely acoustic guitars in there as well. Do I Have the Right to Come Out and Say It? Love the distortion on the guitar on this. You know, for 1966, there wasn't much distortion around, but it's really good. Great tune. Baby Don't Scold Me. I think this sounds like a bit of Beatles, but it's pretty good. I like this. Out of My Mind. It's a song that's a little bit, you know, although it's short, it's not that brilliant. The Price to Pay. 60s pop track, very good. Stephen still singing, wonderful. And then you get For What It's Worth. It wasn't on the original album, but they put it on when they repressed it, and it's a great. People have covered it, but it's a great song, and I had to just mention that at the end, because you can't do a Buffalo Springfield ranking without popping this on, can you? As it wasn't on the original pressing, but we had to put it in somewhere, didn't we? I think this album is overlooked. It's a classic album. There's certainly some great songs on here, and you sort of get the roots of what would become Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young on this. It's a great album, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, very short one, but it's been a busy few days. So, yeah, great band, get forgotten about sometimes, but especially here in the UK, but I do like this band. Okay, that's all for this one. We've got a great retro ranking today. We're going to do a bit of glam rock, and we're going to have a look at my favourite songs by the Glitter Band. Forget that they backed a certain person that we don't talk about, but they had some great hits of their own. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll see you for that later. Bye for now.